Good morning, all, and welcome to our webinar this morning. Hope everyone is having a good morning, and it is as sunny with yourself as it is with me this morning. Great to see so many of you here today, which is fantastic. So we've got a webinar. I've got 30 minutes with you this morning to talk about retaining talent and how we do this through Leading to Succeed. So this is what we've got to do, and let me take you through what we're going to be covering today. So what we're going to be talking about this morning, I am going to provide you, it's going to be jam-packed 30 minutes with as much information and guidance as I can give you. And then I'm going to introduce you to our solution, offer you a strategy session and answer any questions that you have. So first of all, I've been speaking with lots of HR professionals recently and over the coming months. These are the issues that they've been having with their retention. So firstly, managers aren't managing effectively, and the impact this is having on you as HR professionals is it's taken up your time, and your time is being spent dealing with some of the issues that managers aren't dealing with themselves. This also leads to the unhappiness of your employees because they're not being managed effectively, and then this causes issues with them because they're not working to their full potential, their performance isn't being increased, they're not being upskilled. And what does this mean to you in an HR function? Well, this means that you're spending time perhaps where you shouldn't or where you want to, and it means that you're not able to work on your priorities, which should well be your people strategy initiatives that you're wanting to implement in the business. By doing this, we're also losing talent, and if you're losing your talent, then obviously that's a great effect on your business. So what you're hoping is, and what I find is that lots of HR professionals have been hoping that actually managers will just improve and it will get better. So they're kind of a hope. So this is what I've been hearing and seeing over the last few months. So let me take you through why are people leaving. We've got the 4 areas that I'm going to take you through this morning. So the first area is around bad managers and managers not doing what they should be doing to get the best out of other people. People are also leaving because they don't understand where they're fitting into an organisation, so there's lack of alignment. And I'm going to go deep dive into all of these areas in more detail. People are also leaving due to that they're not being developed, their lack of that opportunity, and then around the commitment to well-being. And I will explain these in more detail as we go through the session today. For those of you, I can see a few familiar names from the list that's popping up here, but lots of new ones as well. So a big welcome to those of you that don't know me, and a big hello to those of you that do, and great to see you back again. I'm a director of JP training. I've been doing this for 20 years. I know I don't look old enough, and I feel very lucky and privileged to be doing a job that I love, genuinely enjoy every day. So that's me. So what we're covering in this session, I've just shared with you an overview of the 4 reasons people are leaving. What I'm going to do is I'm going to deep dive into all of those reasons in more detail. And then I'm going to talk to you about what you can do about it and the process. So those are the 3 areas that we're going to be covering. So why is this important? You're here today. Why does it matter? Well, I want to make sure all of you are spending your time where it should be. We want to be as productive as possible, and I don't want you spending time where perhaps others should be doing things by themselves. Also, if you're losing people, the cost to your business, it's a hugely difficult market out there at the moment. There's a really big skill shortage, which I'm sure those of you who are recruiting will be aware of, and therefore we don't want to be losing talent unnecessarily. So it's one got to do something about it. That's why now. Also, before people actually leave, they become disengaged. We mentioned that if they've got those bad managements and those practices aren't happening, and I referred to the quit and forgot to tell you, so you're going to get a decrease in productivity and morale before they go, and that affects the business. Let me take you through these 4 steps. So the first one I said that I was going to talk to you about today was around these bad managers. So let me share with you where they've gone wrong. I'm sure everybody here today has experienced a bad manager. I've had one. His name was Nick, and I don't work for him anymore because people leave them. And the whole team that worked with Nick all those years ago, none of them work with him anymore, so they leave. In fact, 75% of people, they don't leave businesses, and I think that's what you need to appreciate, and that's the importance of it. is that they're not leaving your company, they're leaving a manager. That's the huge impact that management have on your employees and on retention. So let's make sure we can get this turned around. So again, speaking to these businesses, like what's happening with these managers? Where are they going wrong? Well, the first one is the biggest one that I see, and people get promoted. 7 out of 10, in fact, managers are promoted into a position, and you can probably be sitting here, some of you, knowing that this is true within your business. Actually, you promote the good performer. They've done really well, so they've been promoted. The skills to be a manager, though, however, are very different to the skills that they're good performing in, and therefore they're not trained to be a manager and get the best out of others. So that's the biggest reason. The second reason is, and whether they're friends or they work within a team, they're colleagues and they've become close, they've got good rapport, and as they progress into management, they move up, and then they're struggling because of the relationships they have with their colleagues to deal with some of these difficult conversations. They lack the confidence and the skills to be able to deal with that. The third reason is because they haven't been trained, they lack the understanding that it isn't a one size fits all. Management is not this little glove that you're going to put on, because everybody's different, and there is a huge amount of flexibility that's involved in leading and managing successfully, and that's not happening. So they're not able to get the best out of people because no flexibility is happening. Kind of just doing perhaps how they like to be managed, or how their manager is managing them, and that's very common. And the fourth point I'm going to look into more detail in today is their lack of understanding of when they need to be a leader and when they need to be a manager. Sometimes people look at a job title and they think that's what their role, but they don't actually really understand that function very well. And actually, it's really imperative that they do both, that they need to be a leader and a manager. And I'm going to talk about that in more detail. Okay. So this position of manager that they have been promoted into. So I talked about the fact that they're promoted into a position that they haven't been given the skills to do. So that's why it's going wrong. So that's question number one: bad managers not being given the skills to do it properly, and it causes various issues. The second issue is around their managers are struggling to have these difficult conversations. They struggle to have difficult conversations for a few reasons. One of them is lacking of confidence, and also the knowledge of how to conduct them and the skills to be able to deliver them effectively. They also don't understand that their role of difficult conversations fit in as part of performance management, and they have a role to manage performance on a day-to-day basis, and they seem to lack the understanding of this. So performance management is a cycle, and managers need to understand that initially we have to establish direction, and we have to establish expectations, and that's two-way. So what is my team member expecting of me? What am I expecting of my team member? What are the standards of performance, again, that we're expecting? And what are we wanting them to achieve? And whether those goals are worked to together and that those goals are aligned with a business. So that's initially that's setting the direction of how people should be working. And quite often managers don't understand the whole concept of setting direction. Then they need to appreciate that actually it isn't just about having a conversation about what needs to be done and how it's done. We also have to ensure that people are successful. And we do this ensuring people are successful by an everyday job of a manager. And this comprises of lots of different things. So ensuring people are successful means we have to train people. We have to give them the skills. We have to coach them. We have to support them to enable them to be able to do the task. We have to adapt things, make sure they have the resources. We have to make sure people are motivated, which is the willingness to want to do the work. And that's different for all people. We have to make sure that they're encouraged and things are changed if they're not appropriate. And this is a kind of everyday job, providing feedback, monitoring the work. It isn't just about that I told them what they need to do and how they need to do it. This is an everyday job as a manager, is to ensure people are successful. And then what we do is we need to then encourage the development of that and the progress. And this is usually where your performance reviews, will fit into this cycle where you'll do plans for development as well. So how are we developing? What's the career opportunities? What's the development opportunities? And making sure that you have got a performance management process that's fit for purpose, that's being implemented consistently through the organisation. Not if I've got, if I've got Tony, it's great, but if I've got Hussein, he's not doing it. So through the business. And then the cycle starts again. So this understanding of their role to what performance management looks like. And the difficult conversations fit in with that, because in phase 2, when we're ensuring success, if we identify that, well, we set the direction to be here, and now it's here, how are we getting them back up there? It's not, but I told them to do it. Well, it's how are we going to ensure that they need to get there? Have they got the skills to get up there? Are they motivated to get up there? Okay, so that's one of the other reasons. Okay, the third reason is around lack of people understanding. I mentioned earlier that what's happening is that people are thinking, and managers, what they're doing is they're thinking that everyone, it's a one size fits all. Well, they may flex from a person. They may be managing people how they like to be managed. Actually, we're all different, and I mentioned that already. We are all different, and profiling really helps support them to understand and generate high performance, because actually to really deep dive into actually what are people's preferences and that understanding. And they fall into a few types. One of them is around their leadership style, so profiling around leadership. So actually, what does this person require of me? What does it look like in practice? How do I adapt and flex my style for them? Then there's communication. I get called into organisations so much to sort issues on communication. It does make me laugh. Anyway, so communication is that, so for example, I'm really short and to the point, and those of you that know me will appreciate that. Yes, I like to talk a lot, but I'm actually, my emails are quite short and to the point, and my finance team are the total opposite to me. And when they communicate to me, if they send me a really long email, I can't read it. I look at it and it terrifies me. I literally look at the pages and I close it down. And I said, they're not communicating in the right way. And then someone said, but did they send you a second email, Jess? And I went, yeah. So they send me what they need from me, and that's the bullet points, and that's the one I respond to. So the key areas. So actually they do something for their due diligence for themselves, and then they respond, and they know that actually when it's the second email and it's the please can you sign this, agree this, approve that, I then respond to it. Because we all are different and respond in different ways. Then there's also the personality side of profiling, which is understanding that we learn in different ways, and there are lots of different ways in which we can take on information, and making sure they're the right ways for somebody. We're also motivated in different ways, and the bad manager that I had, Nick, he was so bad at this, because he used to, his idea of motivation was that if we'd had a really good week, we got to go for a drink with him on a Friday after work. Well, there wasn't anybody in the team that was like a reward for. So nobody wanted to achieve it, because nobody wanted to go for a drink with him on a Friday. At the time, my children were quite young, and I would have loved on a Friday to have been able to just pick them up from school that day. And it was different for different people. Also, we had people in our team who didn't drink alcohol, and he didn't understand people. It was just, what did he want to do? He wanted to go to the pub. But there's a lot more to it than that, but that was just my example of how I think about my bad manager, and how he had no idea what really mattered to all of us. So we need to be thinking about motivation, learning, personalities. We are all different. And as I said, and profiling can support managers to understand people better. Okay, and the fourth point that I'm going to take you through is then on this is when to lead and when to manage. These are your bad managers. And the fourth point was when to lead and when to manage. I'm quite a visual person, so I'm going to share this image with you, and how the two roles are different. So leadership is about people wanting. Leaders have followers. So this is about people working with somebody because they want to. So are you a manager that people want to? They're motivated to work with you because they want to. So it's very behavioural based, that inspirational, taking things forward. We have to have a vision. We know what the direction is. And that can be the direction of my team, the direction of your department. We understand the direction in which we're going, and we're bringing the team along as leaders to achieve. Your manager, maintenance. Your managers are there to make sure that the work gets done every week, and it's all about your processes, and ensuring that the planning and the work gets done. You can see communication sits in the middle. It's the one, we need good communication regardless of leader or manager. They need to have an understanding of this, because there are times where if there's change, where things are particularly a challenge, I need to be a leader now. When do I need to dip in and be that leader? When do we need to make things better? Processes aren't working for my team. We need to improve it. Be a leader. And when do I need to be a manager? Because there are actually consequences of having one without the other. Okay, they both lead to demotivation. So we don't want to just be the manager role. We don't want to just be the leader, because the consequences will lead to effectively that retention issue, because it's going to lead to demotivation. A case study here of me. This is me doing what I love, standing up in front of people, delivering face-to-face training. This is for an energy company that I've been working with for some time now, and actually I worked very closely with their HR manager, and her time again was being taken up by the managers a lot. It was a big issue for her that all of her strategy wasn't being achieved because she was literally having to do so much with all of the managers. And it wasn't just new managers, this was all the way up to director level, where they weren't dealing with the things they needed to deal to. So we did a process, and what we did was we implemented a training program across the business to build confidence, to upskill people, give them the knowledge that they needed to be able to do these things all by themselves. And fantastic results. It gave them the consistency they wanted across the business. It led to a significant increase in retention rates, which was brilliant. And now all managers are trained across the board. So they have real consistency, and the retention rates have gone up. So that's great to hear. So my message to all of you is to ensure that your managers are provided with the skills to get the best out of other people. It isn't the same as their performance in a previous role. So that's the bad managers. That was the first point I was going to take you through today. The second point is lack of alignment. Reason number 2. So people need purpose. So first of all, my question to you is, does your company have a clear vision? Does your company have clear values and a culture? I am shocked and surprised by how many times I go into a business and and they don't, the employees, the managers, they don't know it. And that shocks me still. It shouldn't be written on a wall somewhere, on a website somewhere. Everybody should be working towards it. They know what it is, because people leave because they don't know where they fit in. You don't want people to say, I'm just the. They have to see the significance of their role and where they fit in integrally to the business. Okay, and that's really key to keeping and retaining your people. So what I would be recommending here is to ensure that actually your vision is out there. You have one. B, it's communicated effectively. You have values, and they're lived and breathed, and actually people are recognised for working towards the vision of the business, and they're recognised for living the values. The third point was around why people are leaving, was lack of development opportunities. And there's some stats here for you, which I find quite interesting. 94% of people would stay longer if they were invested in. Okay, it's really important, more so now in 2024 than ever before. You've got these multi-generational workforces, upskilling, reskilling, and actually people want to see that they're invested in. You care about your people, give them the opportunity to do the best they can. And the second ones I find also is actually, if you're not doing this and you're not developing people, then people aren't working to their full potential. So my question to you now is actually, what impact would your business have if everybody was working to their full potential? That's really quite exciting, I think. Development comes from so many different ways, and this isn't about going on a training course. It's one element of it. In fact, I'm only a very small part of that 10%. What people need to realise that actually we need to make learning and development much more with awareness of it, because people learn and develop every day. But actually, what are we doing around that and the ways that we do that? And there's lots of ways in which we can do that. But 70% of it comes from that. So we need to make sure that people are aware of where are they, where do they need to be, and how are they getting that. And it isn't from just going on a training course. They can get that from their experience and practice. But they need to see and be clear on that journey that they've made of that increase of development. There's also lots of informal ways of learning. People can go to conferences, webinars, online coaching. There are also those practices as well. And then there's the formal training that forms about 10% of someone's development. So the importance, people leave because they're not developed. So my recommendation to you would be have clear development pathways. So that everyone is aware, regardless of how that happens. Not that you just have those conversations at a performance review where, what would you like to develop? People go, oh, I don't know, nothing. Or they're just putting a wish list out there. All has to be relevant. It's got to be very clear throughout an entire year process. And the final point I'm going to talk about around why people are leaving is this commitment to well-being. As I said, we live in a very different world now, and yes, that COVID word is still being used. It taught people a lot, and now expectations in the workplace are different. And this is what people are looking for, and they leave if they don't. 87%, okay, would stay longer if there was that commitment. So, like, what does that commitment actually look like? Well, this is what the commitment looks like. It looks like that you actually are establishing what do people think about the well-being in an organisation. So are we surveying this? Do we know how people are in our organisation? Or are we just thinking it is what it is? Do you create a supportive environment where actual conversations about well-being take place regularly? Do we offer flexible working arrangements? Now this is about your hybrid working. What does that look like? Working from anywhere. Those flexibilities, more so now than ever. We're about to start school holidays, and I'm one of those working mums that will have to be doing flexible working arrangements for a period of 6 weeks. So supporting people with that. Are we providing people with training resources around their well-being? As well? Are we recognising employees who work towards the well-being and support other people in the business? And then the work-life balance, which is, are you creating a culture where actually we're respecting hours and so forth to ensure that actually we're not driving people towards a burnout culture? Actually, what we do is we care about our people. And it's a reason why people leave now. If they haven't got this and it's not a commitment because you genuinely care, it's another reason of why they're going to leave. So these are the 4 reasons that I've taken you through today. So I've taken you through that people are leaving because they leave through bad managers. They leave through lack of alignment. They don't understand where they fit into an organisation. They don't see purpose. They leave because there aren't development opportunities. They can't see them. They're not clear of how they are developing and how that's happening in the business. It isn't always about a promotion. It's about developing. The world of AI now is actually how are we reskilling people? How are we updating people? Because roles are changing. And this commitment to well-being and ensuring that actually you're a culture that cares about the well-being of your people. So those are the 4 reasons that I have taken you through today. So now I'm going to take you through the process and what you to do to make it actually better. So I said, don't worry, don't panic, because we can get it better. So what you've got to do is you've got to be thinking, right, so are we setting expectations for these roles or are we not? And this is the old saying, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So what are we going to do about it? What's the plan to make it better? Being proactive to then thinking, right, what can we do to ensure that these happen? Because managers have a lot of their responsibility for all of those, the well-being, the alignment, the development. It can be supported through them. So what I'd like to offer you today is a strategy session. Let me help you. So if scan the QR code, it's very tech today, look at this, high tech. Scan the QR code, link to my calendar, and I'll offer you the opportunity to people that have attended today to have a strategy session with me around how we can make things better. This is our process, and this is the process that I recommend to cover all of those points around the 4 points that why people are leaving, and covering that common sense of purpose within a leadership day, covering your motivation within building of high performance, understanding how you communicate as a leader, as a manager, and how we adapt, how we manage and set expectation and drive high performance, and the developing of others. So that's our process. Another case study, this is with a town builders actually that I work with and have worked with for a few years. And their issue that they had, the HR, she was her head of people, had in their business, and her issue was that actually she was babysitting all new managers. So her issue wasn't company wide, it was the new ones that were massively over reliant on HR and literally we needed their hands held with everything. So for them, we developed that stepping up to management program. So it was rolled out so everybody who was new to the role was upskilled to enable them to happen. And again, engagement surveys, really big increase. People weren't leaving, new managers, there weren't complaints. HR getting their time back, which is always a bonus. So again, that's the process. And what I'll do is I'll just briefly take you through. We've just got a few minutes left, so I'm just going to take you through what each of those days look like. So the leadership, I mentioned the word creating a sense of purpose, that your business is a jigsaw puzzle and everybody is a piece and everyone is integral to it being complete, ensuring that everyone is aligned, engaged, they understand around leadership, when to lead, when to manage, and the profiling tool we use there is situational leadership. The building high performing teams is around how to build teams, understanding how to motivate individuals, and with the profiling we do there is around Tupman team formation and Maslow's motivational theory, plus many more. The communication with impact day is around that best practice, role modeling communication. There's so much bad practice in the workplace around communication. It's why I put it in all programs, because actually we need to lead from the front. We look at transaction analysis and behaviour profiling in this day. And then we have the performance management day, where this is where people need to understand that cycle I took you through earlier, that direction, what does it mean, understand how to support, how to give feedback. It's a real skills day where they learn how to deal with underperformance, how to coach. And then the final one is around developing of others, so understanding people's learning styles, how to develop people in all the many ways, and then there's that action learning set to support any challenges they have. And we look at Honey and Mumford learning styles as a profile within that. This is some feedback. So not just my word for it, it was great to hear feedback from people that we've worked with in the past. We have lots of them, so that's great. And that's there for you. And then we've got another opportunity. If you missed, if I was too quick with the slides, with your opportunity to book that strategy session with me, let me help and support you with things that are going on. So I've taken you through everything that I was going to take you through. Now there's the opportunity. I did promise you all. I think we've got 2 minutes. If anybody has a question, please pop it in the chat. Or take yourselves off mute. We've got 2 minutes. I really hope you found that 30 minutes really useful, with some takeaways for you, and I look forward to you booking in those strategy sessions so I can talk to you further. Has anyone got any questions? Final minute of the session. If nobody has any questions, then please go and enjoy the rest of your day, sunshine, and I look forward to speaking with you all soon. Have a good rest of your day. Thanks, everybody. Oh, thanks, everybody, for your comments. Appreciate that. You're very welcome. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate that.